A cycle, now markers Nemesis carries festers the in every same genetic code twisted branch. Capcom's horror bow. Tyrants liquors Nemesis carries the same genetic code, not coincidence, a blueprint, a lineage. The mold's spores, the Megamycete's roots both are viral vessels. The progenitor once contained now festers in every twisted branch. What if the true horror isn't the mutation, it's the architect? What Ren binds the Megamyce, progenitor unbroken. Every tyrant, liquor, nemesis aim twisted blueprint. The progenitor virus is not just a tool, it is the mother template. A silent rule binds Umbrella's monsters, one code, infinite horrors. This genetic uniformity is no accident, it is corporate doctrine. What does it mean when every apex predator shares the same DNA? Capcom's canon is a cage. The same strands that birthed Nemesis now coil in Resident Evil 5's hive mind. A single virus, 1,000 masks, the architect's hand is everywhere. And beneath every mutation lies the original sin of progenitor. The cycle does not end, it replicates. The progenitor virus did not emerge from sterile labs. It thrived in the marrow of an ancient flower stairway of the sun its petals stained with a primordial hunger. When scientists extracted its genetic lattice in 1930, they unearthed a code that defied entropy, a code that remembered *. Umbrella's architects did not abandon this blueprint, they chiseled * from it. The Tyrant family's shared genome is no accident, it is a covenant. From the T-virus' first rupture in 1968 to Las Plagas' metallic tendrils in 1998, every mutation clings to progenitor's skeletal syntax. The G-virus fractal horrors, the Nemesis adaptive rage are variations on a single, unbroken theme. Even the Megamycete, that subterranean leviathan, hums with the same viral refrain. Why? Because divergence is death. Umbrella's labs became chapels of repetition, each bow a liturgical chant to the original sin. A tyrant's muscle fibers, stained with progenitor's pigment. A liquor's oculocutaneous sensors, wired by its ancestral blueprint, the fungus that devours cities, its mycelial networks trace back to that first stolen petal. To break the chain would be to unravel the very thing that makes them work and so the cycle breathes. The architects knew true power lies not in innovation, but in the quiet, relentless faithfulness of replication. What does a virus remember when it becomes a god? In the cold records of Raccoon's fall, a single page glows. Javo soldiers, twisted by C-virus, carry progenitor's shadow, not a flaw, not an accident. A signature, Capcom's blueprints whisper a truth older than Umbrella's greed. Every tyrant's roar, every liquor's crawl, every nemesis storm-woven from the same rot. The progenitor's ghost does not rest, it replicates. Ancestral, pause, the word hangs heavy as a tyrant's fist. Then the truth unravels, bow are not siblings, they are clones, one mutation branching, one code bleeding. The C-virus is a mirror, cracked but faithful. It reflects progenitor's original sin amplified, repurposed, never replaced. Umbrella did not invent, it inherited. What does a virus remember when it becomes a god? The progenitor's answer hums in every bow DNA, a silent design rule, no deviation, no escape. From Raccoon's ruins to Kijuju's ash, the pattern holds. Liquors crawl, tyrants crush, Nemesis stalks, all bound by the same ancestral chain. Capcom's files do not lie, they trace the lineage of horror. A family tree rooted in one virus, one experiment, one endless echo. The progenitor's children never die, they evolve, they remember. The files whisper it, cold, clinical. William Birkin's notes, buried in the static of ReZero's data streams, trace the G-virus staged mutations. Stage 3. A monstrosity, yet its DNA, a mirror, the progenitor's code unbroken, a thread through the rot. This is not mutation, this is inheritance. The Tyrant family tree does not branch, it spirals. Each bow a cousin, a sibling, a twisted echo bound by the same genetic cipher, the liquor's claws. The Nemesis bioorganic artillery, the Tyrant's hollow eyes, all forged in the same furnace of violation. Umbrella's labs were not factories, they were nurseries. The progenitor, their silent gardener, seeding chaos. Birkin thought he was building weapons, he was unzipping a wardrobe. Every vial, every failed trial, a hand cradling the next permutation. The G-virus stage 3 is not an endpoint, it is a middle chapter. A paragraph in a letter written by a virus that remembers its author. Consider the liquor, its carapace, a fossil of the progenitor's will. The Nemesis with its targeting system hardware, not software, a body learning to hunt. The Tyrants, their muscles twitching with ancestral memory, they do not degrade. They regress, they return asterisk. What does it mean? A design rule, a prison, a virus that cannot escape its own blueprint. The files do not ask questions, they answer. The progenitor's code is a lock, a key, a curse. Every bow is both experiment and elegy. A requiem for the original sin. The progenitor's children never die, they evolve, they remember. And in the silence between mutations, the code breathes, waiting. Always waiting for the day the family tree outgrows its roots. The Las Plagas parasite of Resident Evil 4 wears its kinship like a shadow. Not a virus, yet bound to the progenitor's genetic scaffold. A cipher in Capcom's design rule, all bioweapons, from tyrants to lickers, breathe through the same ancestral code. This is no accident. The Re4 comic cracks open a vault. Las Plagas, though distinct, shares the progenitor's blueprint, proof that Umbrella's experiments never strayed from the original template. Every mutation, every abomination, is a branch of the same rot. The Nemesis in Raccoon City, the lickers in the dark. The Las Plagas in a child's spine, they are not outliers, they are echoes. A silent design rule etched into Capcom's mythos. The Tyrant family tree does not grow from many seeds, it grows from one. And in that unity lies the horror, a single code rewritten endlessly, a single root poisoning the world. The silence between mutations is not empty. It is waiting for the day the family outgrows its roots. The G-Virus Stage 3 mutation is a grotesque parody of life, yet its DNA, unchanged. The progenitor's core sequence lingers, unaltered in every writhing cell. How does a virus evolve when it refuses to change? Umbrella's bow are not branches on a growing tree. They are clones in a dying forest. Each licker's spine, each nemesis roar, echoes the same ancient code, a design rule, a silent law. If evolution demands variation, what are these creatures but prisoners of a single blueprint? The data does not lie. The Tyrant family's unity is not nature's doing. It is Umbrella's handiwork. They did not let the virus run, they shackled it. Frozen at its root, the progenitor's shadow stretches through every mutation. A controlled collapse, a family tree with no roots, only a loop. Only a cage. Why preserve the template when decay is the goal? The answer hums in the silence between generations, a question without an exit. The Tyrant family tree's silent design rule is a scalpel through flesh and fiction. Every bow, from the rusted sinew of Requiem Tyrant to the mycelial sprawl of the Megamycete, is a permutation of the same progenitor virus scaffold. No deviation, no experiment, only replication. The labs at Umbrella's Arclay facility did not seek evolution, they sought efficiency. A single genetic template, endlessly reconfigured, became the skeleton of terror. Consider the licker, a tyrant's spine gutted and stretched, its limbs sutured to fang and claw. The Nemesis, a tyrant's skull reforged into a snarling artillery piece, its brainstem wired to track. Even the Megamycete, that fungal leviathan, is progenitor reimagined as root and spore. The virus does not change, the bodies do. The air in those labs hummed with the static of sterile ambition. Glass vats glowed with the same sickly amber serum, each batch a mirror of the last. Scientists did not ask why the progenitor bent so pliantly to their will. They asked only how fast they could bend it further. This uniformity is no accident, it is a wound left open. By anchoring every abomination to one blueprint, Umbrella ensured their terror would echo in unison, a chorus of monstrosities singing the same death hymn. The progenitor virus is not a tool, it is a cage. And every bow, no matter how twisted, is a key waiting to unlock the next. The design rule is simple: if the template survives, the horror does too. They did not create, they copied. The progenitor's code was frozen, a surgical blade cutting through variation. Every tyrant licker, Nemesis, a grotesque echo of the same corrupted blueprint. What madness drives a corporation to bind its weapons to a single chain? Umbrella's answer was absolute control, through replication, through horror made uniform, no deviation, no experiment, only the progenitor's twisted arithmetic multiplied across labs and corpses. A genetic straitjacket forcing every bow into the same nightmare shape. The Tyrant's bulk, the Licker's hunger, the Nemesis' rage. All reflections of a virus that was never meant to evolvingly obey. This is the silent design rule, a company that fears divergence. That sees life not as a spectrum but a spreadsheet, each bow a ledger entry, each mutation a profit margin. The progenitor was not a tool, it was a hostage, its code locked to Umbrella's will, and when the monsters turned on their makers. When the labs burned and the tyrants roamed, the design rule endured, 1,000 variations, yet all trace back to the same scar. The same failure, for what is perfection if not a prison? What is control if not a death sentence dressed in order? The Bow family tree is no accident, it is a monument. A testament to a corporation that built its empire on a single, fatal equation. The more you replicate horror, the less you understand it. And when the code finally breaks, it breaks for all. What if the progenitor virus wasn't a weapon? What if it was the loom, every tyrant's snarl, every licker's crawl, every nemesis rage? Woven from the same genetic thread, a mother template, Capcom's files confirm it, no mutation, no divergence, only variations on a single viral score. The progenitor's code isn't a blueprint, it is the blueprint, a silent design rule, no deviation permitted, no alternative allowed. And here's the weight, if Umbrella built their empire on this one code, what happens when the template itself begins to rewrite? The answers lie in the gaps between the strands. Challenge this, dissect it, prove the virus was just a tool. Or prove it was the architect all along. In Umbrella's labs, progenitor's blueprint sprawled across shattered test tubes. Every tyrant's roar, every licker's snarl, every nemesis's collapse echoed a single viral ancestry. The G-virus, weaponized in '98, was no outlier, it was progenitor's grandchild. Raccoon streets drown not in chaos, but in a designer plague. What if the